Welcome to another MECH 1000 video. In this video we are going to do drawing 9-2, the dartboard. So this is a bit of an interesting drawing. It could probably be done in a few different ways, but the intent of the author is for you to use donuts to create this dartboard. So we're going to do it as the author intends, even though there's probably another way we could do it that I may or may not share with you later on. So we're going to start by making the bullseye. Now, in the image you see in your book, the colors are going to be flipped from what we see here in the model space. Our black background is black, and we're going to fill in some areas solid with white. And so the first solid area we're going to make is the center of the bullseye, which has an inside diameter of 0 and an outside diameter of 0.6. I think it's supposed to be 0.625. So the next donut we're going to make is going to, again, share the same center, but we're going to specify a different inside diameter. This time our inside diameter is going to be 1.5, and the outside diameter will be 7.5. And then I'm going to make one more donut for now. I'll make another one in a little bit. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make this thin donut now also. So the next donut I'm going to make is going to be, it's going to basically start where the last one left off. So it's going to have an inside diameter of 7.5 and an outside diameter of 8.25. Need to make sure I get it in the center. There we go. And then finally, I'm going to make a fourth donut, and it's going to have an inside diameter of 8.25 and an outside of 13. Okay, so it all looks very solid right now. So we need to split it up, and we're going to do that by drawing a line. I'm going to draw a line straight up that it doesn't really matter the distance, but I'll go ahead and make it 17. That's going to be the outer, actually no, I should have made that 17 divided by 2, shouldn't I? So that's going to be 8.5. Let's try that again. Straight up, 8.5. Okay, and so then I'm going to use this line to create a polar array. I'm going to make an array of this line about the center, and I want 20 lines to be in this polar array. And I do not want it to be associative. If you do make it associative, you'll just have to explode it later on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim. I'm going to use the trim command, and I'm going to select all of these lines that radiate out from the center. And that's what's going to do the trimming for me. And now I just need to trim away the parts that I want to be, again, the colors are flipped, so I'm going to want to trim away the parts that are white. So for instance, that area and that one. It can be kind of tricky to select these areas. that one, that one. I'm just going to alternate every other one. Again, you kind of got to get your cursor just in the right position. And then in the next donut in, I want to alternate. I want to select the alternating areas to trim. And then alternate again on the inside. Okay. That ought to do it right there. So I guess one last thing I'll do, well, not the last thing, but another thing I'll do is I'll draw just a regular circle, and I'll use it to trim off. I don't need these lines I use to do my trimming. Rather than just simply deleting them, I'm going to trim them off. I don't need, didn't hit enter, there we go, to finish my selection. Trim off all of these centers. I don't need any of these lines in here. But the reason why I'm just trimming them instead of deleting them altogether is because I want to keep them on the outside to make this outer ring where the numbers go. Okay, so there's my dartboard with alternating colors with these rings. So I'm thinking the other way this drawing could have been made is just with a polar array of lines radiating out from the center and a bunch of concentric circles. And then instead of using the donut command, we could have probably just used a solid fill or hatch pattern in those areas. But the textbook author wants us to use donuts, so that's what we did here. Now, to get the text into these boxes, there is no text, there's no box right at the top, like the 12 o'clock position or even the 3 o'clock position. But I think that's really where we need to start the text. And let's see if the book says anything about the size of this text. I don't see anything in the book about what size this text needs to be, so I guess we're just going to have to kind of eyeball it. I generally prefer using multi-line text. Guess I'll draw it in the approximate area I want it to go, although we will probably adjust its position after it's made. Justification is important here. I want middle center justified, and I don't know, I'll just use the number 5, and obviously I want that to be bigger. Right now it's 0.2, so let's try 1 and see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. I think I'll go with the size 1. So I'm going to need to rotate it over here into position. So let's think about what angle that would be. If I just look at the top left quadrant, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas here. So that's 90 degrees divided by 5. So each of these lines in the polar array are 18 degrees apart. So if I want to rotate this number 5 to be in the center of this box, that's going to be half of 18, or 9 degrees. So I'm going to rotate that number 5. Let's try that again. Rotate number 5 about the center, 9 degrees. Okay, and now I can create a polar array of this number. through the center, and I want 20 items in my array. I do not want it to be associative. That way I can edit these numbers. And I just have to go through and double click on each number that's not supposed to be a 5 and change it into what it is supposed to be, like 12. I'm going to hurry up and do that with all the others, but I'm going to pause the video recording because that would just be boring to watch. Okay, while I was away, I updated all the numbers, so now they are correct. And all I need to do now is make sure that my paper space is set up. So if I go to my Layout tab, I already have my title block here. If I double click inside the viewport, let's see what size is going to fit. It looks like a 1 to 2. Fortunately, 1 to 2 is not going to fit. So we're going to have to shrink this down a little bit, unfortunately. Looks like we might have to go with a 1 to 4 size. But really no other choice there. So make sure you include your name. The title of this drawing is Dartboard. The scale. What scale did we end up choosing? 1 to 4. Scale is 1 to 4. And today's date. I'm doing this on 10/2/20. Okay, and looks like I don't have my Zane State block in there. I should add that in. But other than that, this drawing is now complete. So good luck reproducing this yourself. Really wasn't so bad. The hardest part was probably just finding the right spot to trim those donuts. But other than that, not too difficult of a drawing. Good luck.